Hi, this is my version of the mid-year freakout tag. It's nightless night here in Finland and it's almost 8:30 p.m. and the sun is just blasting into our apartment and it makes it very hard to go to sleep, but we do love it. I will be both answering the tag questions and going through my reads from April to June. Welcome and let's get started. Best book you've read so far in 2024? Honestly, I don't know. I've been having a really weird reading year where I have just been fixating on different authors on different times. I've read so much J.K. Rowling and Karen mcmanus and I have been doing a lot of rereads too, and I'm not sure if those fully count. You'll Be the Death of Me by Karen mcmanus might be the right answer to this prompt because it was a first time read and it was an excellent YA mystery. I liked it equally as I did with One of Us is Lying. Best sequel you read so far in 2024? I don't read a ton of series in the first place, but I did read the final book in the Bayview trilogy by Karen mcmanus and I liked it a lot. Even though it was a really difficult spot for a book to continue, the storyline that I assume was originally going to be a standalone, the book did everything it was supposed to and more. mcmanus books wake up my inner teenager in the best possible way. Hold on, I was supposed to put on some makeup before I started. Okay, new release you haven't read yet but want to. A couple of answers for this one. There are new Finnish translations which are technically originally not new releases but new here in my first language. Happy Place by Emily Henry, Before Coffee Gets Cold by Toshigazu Kawaguchi, Wellness by Nathan Hill. Also a Finnish organizing self-help book called The Power of 15 Minutes, Voima by Ilana Aalto is something I really want to read. And then Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, which everybody has apparently loved, although I will not be getting that from the library before the autumn comes, so that sucks. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I know I'm answering Karen mcmanus way too often in this tag and I'm sorry, but there's just nothing I can do about that. Here we go again. Such Charming Liars is truly the book that I'm anticipating the most at the moment. Other good answers for this prompt might be these cute Agatha Christie new releases with just so beautiful covers that I really do want to read in the last half of the year. Biggest surprise, Dear Evan Hansen by Val Evi. I saw the musical early this year and the novel had really many different points of view and that was really a pleasant surprise, I think. I really liked both. And then I watched the movie too, so now I have three different adaptations to the story and I have to say that I have grown a little bit tired because it just everything goes so wrong in the end that I just think that these 4 times have been plenty for this year. Biggest disappointment. I've had so many this year. My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Ottessa moshfegh might be the biggest one. I had just totally incorrect expectations going in and it was so weird and so depressing. Kind of the same with Between Us by Mary McFarline as well. Favorite new author, debut or new to you? Should I say Agatha Christie? It feels kind of wrong to call her a new author, and I have read And Then There Were None at school, but I've read one of her mysteries this summer and then in January I read Marple, the 12 New Stories collection, and I just decided to dive into her world more because she is the mystery queen, I guess. And the books are like old school and British, and it's just vibe. All in all, I've had very bad luck with new to me authors, unfortunately, and I can't come up with a better answer, so Agatha Christie it will be. Newest fictional crush. Oh, I don't have a good answer to this one either. I feel like most of the guys in romance novels written by women are pretty much exactly the same. I do love Augustus Waters from Fault in Our Stars by John Green, but I have since like 2014. I also do love Nate from the Bayview trilogy. That's at least a bit newer. Let's say Nate. New favorite character. Ron Weasley from Harry Potter's. I reread the series during the winter and I just fell in love with Ron in a different way that I had never before. Something about his sincerity and loyalty was just unmatched. Also, I think that he had the most of the lines that I laughed out loud to, so that's also a plus. Book that made you cry. Killing Lions by John and Stam Eldredge. The book is a brilliant conversation between a father and a son, full of wisdom and one of the best books I've read this year. There was this piece about marriage that was just so heartbreakingly poignant that it got me in tears. Book that made you happy. I reread Aino Huilaja's memoir about van life called Pakumatkalla, and after having my own van life experience last summer, it was so special to read and reminisce all the forgotten details about that beautiful way of traveling and accommodating. Most beautiful book you bought so far this year or received? I don't buy books other than in very exceptional circumstances. One of the big reasons is that we live in a studio apartment of 24 square meters. So the most beautiful cover of the year has been the Dictionary of Lost Words by Pip Williams. I just love the combination of the dark blue and the poppies. What books do you need to read by the end of the year? My summer TBR is all about John Green's Blacklist and then a couple of summary romances such as the Happy Place Finnish translation that I already mentioned and Will Always Have Summer by Johann. And then The Good Girl's Guide to Murder Week, because I'm probably the only booktuber in the whole world that hasn't read it yet. In autumn and winter I will hopefully be reading Stolen Focus by Johann Harry, The Housemaid by Freida McFadden, The Age of Magical Overthinking by Amanda Montell, and Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. Okay, then the wrap up of the second quarter of the year 2024. These are in random order because I can't remember the exact, but they are approximately like by month. So in April I did read Tom Lake by Anne Patchett, and I feel like Anne Patchett's novels are really quality books. Everything is done with so much attention that I actually thought she invented the play that appears in the book herself. And it wasn't until 2 months later, while I was reading Matthew Perry's biography, that I realized that it's a freaking real play. Tom Lake started so promising, the almost actress reciting her life to her adult children, but unfortunately the last part of the plot didn't live up to my expectations. I especially liked the discussion around fame and how the protagonist explained how she didn't regret her quiet life she ended up choosing. Then, did I already mention I've read a lot of Karen McManus this year? Two Can Keep a Secret, Nothing More to Tell, and The Cousins. I read these three during the spring, and while enjoying them, I didn't like the open endings they had. Also, I feel like these three have kind of mixed up in my mind to be this kind of one big YA mystery with all these different characters. I'm not sure if it's like my fault reading them all too close to each other or if they just are like really similar. Talking at Night by Claire Beverly. I had a fun surprise with that. I was reading this in English and then I was in the library just picking up my reservation and spotted that it had translated into Finnish and I had no idea. So then I swatched the language in the middle part. There's like kind of before and after. That might have been a mistake, but it was a fun surprise all in all. I feel like the book just got worse and worse and worse towards the end, and I don't know if the translation was the problem or like the plot and the whole original book, and I might never find out. It just felt so like over dramatic and not believable, and I didn't like the characters, and it was just too close to one day, like the David Nicholson novel, you know the one that has been made into a TV series. That was a disappointment. Funny Story by Emily Henry. This was much anticipated for me, as it was to every 20-something reader in the Western world. I think the neighbors' kids got home for the weekend. They have like 2 homes, and their parents are divorced, I guess, so it just gets so noisy when they get here. Anyway, Funny Story was really fun to read outside. The weather had already warmed and I was just in a hammock, and it reminded me of last summer when I read Happy Place in our van. Happy Place did get the standards like so high that Funny Story was well, it didn't feel as great to me either. The details and the scenes were amazing, but especially the father-daughter relationship felt made up to me, and the plot just went kind of downhill from, I don't even know where was the turning point. It started very promising and the setup was really interesting, and I do feel like it's an unfair situation to begin with, to have liked the previous book so much by somebody and then kind of just expecting the next one to be exactly the same in all the aspects that you enjoyed. You'll Be the Death of Me by Karen McManus. Okay, this is the last time I will mention Karen McManus books in this video, I promise. But as I already said, this might be my favorite book of the year. I think the concept with the mostly one-day timeline worked out really great, and I loved the teenage trio who got up to solve the mystery. There was surprises, there was romance, there was underlying deeper themes to connect to. There was everything you could wish for in a YA mystery, and her books are just written so well, like what else do you need? Killing Lions by John and Sam Eldredge. This too is one of my favorite reads of the year so far. John and Sam covered topics like money, career, love, life in general, what Jesus is really like. I love the Wild at Heart community with all my heart and would recommend picking up basically anything that they have created. Pakumatkalla by Aino, Huilaja. Easy and fun van life read, full of stunning pictures from all over Europe. Van life has such a special place in my heart, and I will be reading any future books Aino writes. Daring Greatly by Brené Brown. I've started my slow way through Brené Brown books. They are just so widely recommended in the psychotherapy, self-help world. This one gave a lot of insight into vulnerability, and it really got me thinking about my own patterns and habits, which is always ideal when you are reading this kind of a self-help book. There's also a Netflix talk of this same book, or of the topics of this book, and it was really hilarious and wise at the same time. That's definitely worth watching as well. Friends, Lovers and the Big Terrible Thing by Matthew Perry. Oh boy, this is probably the saddest book of the year. It was just heartbreaking to read about somebody's just battle with addiction. It really hit me when he described the feeling he got when he got drunk for the first time. Like how he felt so peaceful and quiet, and the noise in his mind finally calmed down. I love Friends, the TV series. It's just devastating to read how much he was struggling during those 10 years of filming. The Fault in Our Stars and Paper Towns by John Green. My husband asked yesterday if I read any male authors who are not named John, and I said yes I do, and then I looked through my TBR pile and there was 0. So we'll come back to that one later when I can prove him wrong. These two books feel like summer to me. I think that's because the movie adaptations came out during the summer, like about a decade ago, which it is absolutely insane to think about. I was 14 and 15 and they just, you know. Anyway, I had never read these in the original language, first language, what is it called? In English, so I decided to go for it, and I watched the movies as well. I actually preferred Paper Towns this year quite a bit more than before, which was really odd. Maybe the sadness of The Fault in Our Stars just really hit different while reading it as an adult. I noticed the same with Harry Potter's earlier this year. As a kid, I just let the sad parts slide and focused on the happy and exciting and surprising parts. As an adult, I just noticed so many little hints and details that make it so much more devastating, especially when you know how it's gonna end. I was just sobbing in a bus in February when I was reading The Order of Phoenix because it was just so sad. Walking with God by John Eldredge. I'm a big fan of John Eldredge's books, as already mentioned, and this was no exception. John walks you through 1 year of his life, some of the events and conversations with God he had, and also counsels how to hear the voice of Jesus in your everyday life. Elsewhere by Gabrielle Zevin. I thought this was going to be a new release, but it turned out it was just a new edition of this many years old YA book. Elsewhere is a story of life after death, and it didn't appeal to me very much. I guess it just felt depressing to me, and it was written in a very YA way too. On the other hand, I really enjoy seeing how the big bestseller writers have started out with something really ordinary. It feels really hopeful to me as a writer, and it just encourages to keep on reading and keep on writing. Caribbean Mystery by Agatha Christie. This was probably not the best start to my Christie era, because Miss Marple is in this foreign country. I forgot already what it was, but she's not in England, which is kind of the whole point, isn't it? She's on a holiday and then people start dying, of course, because why wouldn't they? I think the point of these books is that you really cannot guess who is the murderer or what has happened, and that's somehow really liberating to me. Like, the pressure to guess the correct answer is off and you can just chill out and see where the story takes you. Things That Make One's Heart Beat Faster by Mia Kankimäki. In Finnish it's called Asioita, jotka saavat sydämen lyömään nopeammin. And I don't think that there is an English translation, but I did find this title translation from her website, so let's just go with that one. This was a reread too. I really love this hybrid of book. It's memoir and travel guide and history book and a poetry collection all in one. Mia Kankimäki moves to Japan for a year trying to learn about this ancient Heian era writer lady called Seishonagon. This book is a perfect mix between entertainment and learning new stuff yourself, and I'm really sorry that it hasn't been translated into English, but maybe someday. It has been to many languages, including Japanese, which I find really fun. Okay, I think that's it. If you stuck out until here, thank you so much. I feel like these quarterly wrap up things are working quite well for me, so probably in September we have to figure some kind of tag of our own or something, because I don't know if there is one that exists for 3/4 of the year tag, reading tag. I don't know. Anyway, happy summer, happy winter, take it easy, remember to hydrate, and see you later.